Bienvenido. Come on in. Welcome to my home in Mexico City. I'm Henrietta.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hello, I'm Henrietta Lovell. They call me the tea lady. I have a tea company. I've had a tea company for 21 years. Welcome to my home in Mexico City. This is a 1950s, a mid-century building. Mexico City's architecture, the 20s and the 50s were really some great highlights. There was incredible work done across the city, and every building here is different. That's what makes Mexico City such a fabulous place to live. There are no terraces. I came from Primrose Hill. My flat in London was in Primrose Hill, which is all this beautiful Regency terrace. Now I live in a building which is completely different from every other building. We worked hand in hand with the owner of the building, who is an amazing Mexican artist, to keep the building in its original bones exactly as it was. This is the original floor, those are the original tiles, this is the original concrete. Nothing has been changed. All we did really was clean it up, make sure it was put back into the best condition we could. And then we filled it with a container full of furniture from our homes. My husband was living in Denmark and I was living in London. We shared homes between those two places. And so we brought all our stuff from Denmark and London in a container across the water and put it in this amazing space. When we moved here, because my husband has 4 children, 4 beautiful, amazing boys, and their mother moved back to California, where she was from, and we wanted to be close to them. We also have always loved Mexico, and it's no hardship in any way at all to be living here. We wake up every morning and we're like, oh, I can't believe I live here. It's the most wondrous place to live. So as you come in, walk into the living room, and it's in 3 sections. The first is a bar area. I love making cocktails. I feel like a drinks cabinet is like a kitchen cabinet for other people. I mean, drinks are my specialty, and I love combining flavors. I blend my own whiskey. I make cocktails and shake them and martinis. So this has a rather lovely story. My first flat in London was tiny, and the sitting room and the kitchen were the same room. And I didn't want kitchen cupboards because they would take all the space and the light. And also I love to see everything. So I found this in architectural salvage. It's actually a Victorian shop cabinet, and it would have been on the ground. It has a glass top. And it was black, really thick paint, and I stripped it all back by hand myself, and I will never do that job again. And the sad thing was I couldn't do the doors because it was too fine. I thought I was going to smash it, so I actually had to send it to a professional to do the doors. So I mean, I could have just done the whole thing, man. Never mind. It's come with me every single place, and it gives me huge pleasure to have it in my life. And I have glasses for everything. Some of them I inherited, some of them I found in different places around the world. These mostly come from Hastings on the south coast of England, where I found collections. And my husband loves a king and queen cup, as he calls them. We have a whole collection of cups that celebrated marriages and coronations and kings and queens of England through the years. Some of them are very, very old. Some of them are more modern. Like this one is for the First World War, 1914 to 1919. I have one from Queen Victoria. I mean, some of them are more modern. I think I have a Lady Di somewhere. We use them too. All of the beautiful things that we have, we like to use, because what's the point of having them for best? To touch them, to use them, to drink tea from them. That's the pleasure of life. And I have some lovely teapots too. Look at this one. That's how the lid comes off. And it was so precious that they had it fixed when it broke. It was a lead seal. Amazing. And my decanters, I also inherited from my parents. My dad was a whiskey drinker. My mum liked gin. I have rum. I have everything. You can tell I'm not an alcoholic because there actually is stuff in the bottles. My husband's stereo is very important. This is maybe the soul of the house. There's always music playing. And this is very hygge from Denmark. These are Danish candlesticks, a little collection of Danish candlesticks so we can make a cozy warm evening. And these chairs I got in London from an antique shop, and because I loved the curve of the wood of the arms. And it's so interesting because this table also has amazing curved wood feet. I mean, and I bought them at very different times. But this chair is one of 6 that I had, and I found them, I bought them from the street in the Bowery in about 2001 when I lived in New York. And they all got trashed over the years, moving around the world, especially this part, the wicker. And here in Mexico, I found somebody who could fix it for me. So this one's been reupholstered, or re-wickered, rather. It's the original velvet. And this is the dining area. I found this beautiful 50s table in Mexico City, and the chairs, and the bench. And they have really fit with the building, with the concrete. We kept the ceiling as it is. That's the original concrete, and I just feel like it shows the bones of the building in a beautiful way. And some of my favorite treasures are on the table. I love to eat here. I have lots of beautiful cutlery, and I could have made up the table, you know, with beautiful plates and knives and, you know, beautiful glasses. But when we're not eating, I like to display some of my treasures. And this is the most beautiful sculpture. Look at her tender face that I got in Tokyo from an amazing Japanese sculptor. I think his name is Takemoshi. And these I gave to my mum, and I inherited back again. This is my dad's favorite flower. And this I got when I was visiting the kids in Sonoma County from an old junk shop. Some plants. Now this is, if a teapot isn't functional as a teapot, because it's missing a part, like the lid, it's also very cool to be a plant pot. And both of these guys are missing their lids. So they've become plant pots. But how cool is this little fellow? Look at this hairy cactus. And these are the dahlias from the garden that I plucked for you so that we have beautiful flowers on the table. And then we move from the dining room into the sitting room, the place we crash out and lie on the sofa, probably looking at Instagram. And I actually spend quite a lot of time here on the chaise. Got a big pile of books. This is my favorite new one from my friend Michael Z, Breakfast in China, that I've just started reading. And the Hockney's doing an amazing exhibition in Paris at the moment. I'm dying to go and see. And this is a really good place to watch the sunset. It sets right over there, and all the rain in the summertime, we have thunderstorms. And I got this in Sussex. And so I had it reupholstered here in Mexico. There's so many great people who can fix things. And that's what I love about Mexico, is that people don't throw things away, they fix them. And this is a really good example. This is a Chinese urn that I got from my mum. And when my brother and sister were kids, they smashed it. And it was in terrible pieces, and my mum treasured it so much. And she didn't have enough money to have it fixed, so she did it herself. Took her months. Starting from the bottom, she glued it all together, and you could see every bit of glue and, you know, her rather amateur mending. And on the way here, it was one of the things that got smashed in the move. Very few things, most things made it, but this didn't. But I found a museum curator who could make it even better than it was. It looks like new. I mean, how amazing is that? That's my mum. It's my granny. This is some smoking lady we found in Mexico City. No, sorry, in Denmark. Just a few ladies. That's my great aunt Katie being presented to the Queen, as you do. That's my wall of famous ladies. Some of my favorite pink and red plants. But this guy, well, she's a woman, isn't she? This beautiful lady, I think she's a mermaid. She's a sculpture from Sussex, from Hastings, by a fisherman from a bit of driftwood. I think she is really amazing. And behind that is a 50s painting of Jerusalem that my mum treasured. And she's there so it doesn't get any light. And this sculpture here was from a friend of mine when she was a student at Edinburgh University. It's one of her pieces for this little nymph. And she couldn't carry it, she couldn't take it when she was leaving Edinburgh, so she gave it to me, and I've taken it around the world ever since I was a student in Edinburgh when I was 19, 20 years old. This sofa is from Copenhagen, It's a super comfy, lovely thing to lie on. And I have a real fondness for this mustard yellow. My flat in London, I used to have a lot of yellow walls, and it looked really amazing there. But there's so much light in Mexico, you don't need to paint things color. This is the first time I've had a white house. Before, I really brought a lot of color in because, you know, I lived in damper, gloomier places. But here, I feel like there's enough color just out of the window and with the plants and the furniture. This is a photo from my husband's book, from the photo shoot we did in Copenhagen. It's our friend Ben showing off the baguette. He just got a James Beard Award, by the way, for his book, Richard Hart Bread, if you would like a James Beard Award-winning book. We both have awards, actually. I have an award-winning book called Infused Adventures in Tea, which is about the farmers and the places I go to buy tea and the places we drink it. So it's not a boring book about tea, it's more an adventure story. We actually chose this apartment even though it was full of pigeons and wasn't ready to move in. We had to wait 8 months to get it ready, possibly a bit longer, because of the kitchen. My husband loves to cook. Before he became a baker, he was a chef. And hosting and having people around to eat is an absolutely essential part of our lives. And he didn't want to be tucked away in a kitchen somewhere off somewhere and not be part of the party. And some of the houses here and the flats here, especially the older apartments, have a very separate kitchen, and it's very small. And we wanted a place where we could feel at home and entertain. So it's got a very open kitchen, and that makes a huge difference. And you would think that Richard would not want to cook when he comes home because he's baking all day, but it's his joy. And on Sunday, which is in 2 days, he's opening his first bakery here in Mexico City called Green Rhino, and you'll see a few rhinos around the place because they're one of his son Jude's favorite animal, and it was named after one of his son's favorite color and favorite animal, Green Rhino. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking. He'd love to be here today, but he can't because he's doing all the preparation and the excitement of opening what he hopes will be one of the best bakeries in the world here in Mexico City. So you move from the sitting room into the kitchen. The kitchen is the sitting room. We spend a lot of time sitting here, eating here, talking here. Richard will be cooking and I'll be reading or talking, drinking tea. This beautiful cabinet my brother made me when he was at school in carpentry class. Can you believe it? And this is where I keep, you know, some of my most precious teacups and my tea things and like my silver toast racks, very important. And like my gravy boat and my soup tureen, like a few little things that are precious, they stay there. And then this area is really my tea area. So that part of the kitchen is Richard's, this part of the kitchen is mine, and this is where I have all my teapots and the stuff that I use every day. So these are very everyday teapots that you can take out into the garden, they're gonna break. And I have a temperature-controlled kettle. So people always ask me, I only sell loose leaf tea. I have never sold a tea bag. There is absolutely nothing eco-friendly about a tea bag. Whatever it's made of, it's still single use of precious resources. And then to turn wood into paper or corn into plastic, silken mesh, you need industrial chemicals, bleaches, glues, carbon, all kinds of chemicals which you're going to then infuse with your tea. So it's not good for the environment, single use of precious resources. It's not good for you. Well, who knows what you're drinking with your tea. And it's not really the best way to make tea. It needs room to expand. So these are all loose leaf teas, beautiful, precious, lovely teas. And I take my tea and I put it in a teapot, right? It's not terribly complicated. You can have a lovely collection of tea caddy spoons. Make the pleasure all the more when you take your tea out. But you've got 3 things to worry about. How much tea you put in your teapot. It's a very simple one. Nice little glass one. I was making tea for 1. This is a micromilligram scale in case I want to be super accurate, because tea is precious, right? People might think that was a drug scale, but my drugs are good for you, healthy and delightful. But every bit is precious. And I might put a spoon of tea into the teapot. And then I'm going to choose the temperature. So my kettle is, and people get confused, this is a teapot, this is a kettle, this makes hot water. has a temperature control on it so that I can decide what temperature I have. So I'm going to control how much leaf I put in, maybe measuring it, what temperature the water is, and then how long I infuse it for. And if I can control those 3 things, I can get myriad flavors from my tea. So that's all it takes. And I have all the things I need to make delicious tea here. This is just a small selection. I have a massive collection of tea. And teapots and teacups, but like that's all I can fit here. And this is quite fun. This is my freedom of the city in London. I'm a free person, a free woman of London, which means I can walk my sheep over London Bridge, should I so want to. I know, strange but true. This side is Richard's side, and you're going to see lots of chopping boards. He loves wooden chopping boards, no plastic. A wooden chopping board is really great for keeping things clean and safe. The bacteria much less likely to grow on wood or flourish on wood. And he finds them things of real beauty. His bread, of course, and a beautiful bread knife. Oh, and over here, look at this. This is my little nursery. These are some alpine strawberries and some tomatoes that are just on their precious way. And they have to be right here so I can look after them on a daily basis. And my cactus growing in my cracked water jug. A comal for tortilla. This is for making beans. This is a lovely old piece of English ceramic, a cabbage dish. And I love the mix of the beautiful handmade Mexican barro rojo. And in fact, I fixed this myself. This one is super precious. I think I mend all my clothes. I try and mend anything that breaks or reuse it. And this is my egg cup that I had when I was a child, Peter Rabbit. And I collect also egg cups, which I love very much. So we have a bit of an obsession with wooden spoons. We have a lot, but we try and find like handmade ones. This was made by my friend dear Jane. And you know, like they're just lovely things to touch and feel. And for Richard, it's knives. Like he's a chef, he's obsessed with his knives. He has a beautiful collection, and some of them are made by friends. This is made by Padre, a friend of mine. These are from Japan. This is from Fingal Ferguson in Ireland, who makes beautiful knives. He's also a farmer, full-time. He made these ones. This is his and hers. It's one of my first knife with a power shell handle. This is a Lovell heirloom. This is a carving knife before stainless steel. So this is just steel, which is not just untreated with a bone handle. I know, and that's for making they've been used so much that they've worn down, these 2 carving knives. And there's the fork that you use to stab the roast when you're making your Sunday roast. And these are our newest ones. We were just in Madrid not long ago, and there's just some cheese knives. Oh, and Richard has about 15 different kinds of salt. So we have different chickens for different salts. Richard does love his coffee, and that's perfectly okay. I love coffee too. If you love delicious flavors, it's not limited just to tea. I love whiskey, I love sake, I love tea, I love coffee, and it can be a very lovely part of your life. And so some of our biggest treasures these are pictures of Richard with his boys. And these pots, do you see this pair of pots? When I was a kid, we had them in my house, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, Mom, why do we have to have these really ugly pots? They're so hideous. And she was like, no, darling, they're not hideous. And I was really embarrassed about them. And then when she died, I was like, I need those pots. Then my brother and sister were like, you can have them. Are you crazy? But they've become like super treasures in my life, and I love having them around. And they fit very nicely with Richard's Madonnas and Ganesh. And this was a present. I supplied the tea for Chateau Marmont, and that was a present from André Bellage. And this is a guy who makes the decals on our teacups and teapots. So if you're a very famous restaurant and you want to have, or a hotel, and you want to have your own bone china from England, and you want to have your own unique painting on the side, a decal, this guy Tom Berry does it for us, and he made this for me. And his bread baskets. There's bread baskets everywhere. And we're lucky enough, it's a bit of a mess, but we're lucky enough to have a larder as well, which is full of English things like Marmite and English mustard. And this is my school. You know, when you were at school and you had school lunch, we used to have to wear an apron so we didn't get our clothes dirty. This is my original one. Snoopy. I still use it when I'm cooking. I can mostly keep the food off my clothes when I'm eating, mostly, but cooking absolutely not. I began Red Tea Company in 2004, and I'd been working in corporate America, and I'd had the chance to travel into China, and I'd found these amazing teas that people think that England is a tea drinking country, and we do, but I didn't have access to amazing teas from China when I was a kid. Everything was in a tea bag from the supermarket, and I kind of thought that's what tea was. And then I traveled into China and I drank oolongs and white teas and green teas, and I fell deeply, deeply in love. I remember being given a cup of oolong that cost $50. This is back in like 2000. And I was like, how can it cost $50? And then I drank that tea and I was like, oh my God. You know, it's like imagine if you love wine and all you'd ever had was something from a plastic bladder in a cardboard box, and you say, okay, that's wine. And then somebody gives you a beautiful small vineyard, perfectly, carefully grown grapes, crafted into an incredible champagne. And then you drank it, you're like, oh, there's a whole other world out there. So I fell in love with this world, and I decided to make it my life. And it gave me an access into people's lives. Some of the times where I felt success as being a tea lady and running Red Tea have actually been times when I've got to go places that I never imagined I'd get to go. So it's not just meeting the farmers around the world, going to Malawi and Nepal and being involved in people's lives there and getting to see really remote, incredible places. But also I get to go to restaurants. So I sell a lot of tea to hospitality, to restaurants and hotels around the world, and I get to work right beside chefs and sommeliers. So René Redzepi at Noma in Copenhagen, Daniel Calvet in Cezanne in Tokyo, Claridge's Hotel in London. I work with Gordon Ramsay, like household names, Nancy Silverton. Alice Waters uses my tea in her restaurant Lulu in LA. I mean, I get to go and have these extraordinary culinary adventures as well as the traveling. It's a huge privilege and a joy. And I learn all the time. This is our kind of library, TV room. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do read a lot. And this is some of our collection of books. But also this structure allows me to have a place for all my little tiny things look at this little thing. My mum brought this back from New York for me when I was a little girl. It's such a treasure. And these were my dad's toys from when he was a little boy in Argentina, where he grew up. Look, that little wooden pig. What were you going to do with something like that? And so I have all these special things that I love, and they tell a story of my childhood or my parents' childhood, my husband's records, my records. These are hat molds that I got in Denmark for Lush hats, which I wear a lot of hats. Everything. This is a muffin dish. This is for keeping your muffins in. English muffins. They had their own special chafing dish. Just so when I'm watching television and I get distracted, I have all these things to look at. And then these are mostly Richard's cookery books and some poetry. I got this rug from a junk shop, rather than an antique shop in Copenhagen, and it took a lot of hoovering and washing to get it to come back to color again. And this huge treasure is a handmade quilt that I got as a wedding present from one of our farmers that I work with in India. Her name is Nayan Lilybank. It's her and her family. The farm is called Lacrosu in Meghalaya in India. And what an amazing present to give someone. And she brought it, her son brought it all the way from India for me. It's just the most exquisite thing. And these are some of my collection of beautiful boxes. This box is actually a kimono box. You would keep your precious kimonos in it, and I keep some of my most precious teacups inside. You can see some of my little tiny cups. This one is a really beautiful old one. This means big in Chinese. This would be the oldest son's cup, probably. And this is an old deed box where you'd keep your special papers, like your marriage certificate and your wedding certificate, and I keep old photographs in here. I mean, from my family, my parents, on the night they met. And this is an old biscuit tin when I was growing up. We used to keep our biscuits in it, and now I keep my button collection, which I also inherited from my mother, who probably inherited it from her mother. And so this is where we keep our novels, but this is where we dry our clothes. I don't believe in tumble dryers. It's a waste of energy and electricity. We can just air dry them. It's so warm here. It comes all the way from England. And with us, as do our books. These are mostly my books, all my novels, all my treasured friends. You know, I don't want to live without them. And I share them with people, and I read them again. And it's just an important part of life to have your books with you, I think. So welcome to my garden. I'm a bit of an obsessive about plants. I love to grow things, especially from seeds or from little cuttings. I get huge joy about seeing things come up. So this is my little citrus nursery. These are all citrus, different citruses, oranges, lemons, tangerines. This is this year and this is last year. You can see this guy is really thriving. I mean, it makes me so happy, but I have to be really attentive. And I've been growing all kinds of things from seeds that I found in the streets, so that when a plant produces its seed pod, like this, and it's dried out, I collect the seeds and I plant them in my garden. So I'm like bringing all the lovely plants from the street up here. And this is an onion. I think these are actually bananas. This is types of oregano, air plants, which are from Mexico. That's where they originated, and he just lives on this frangipani, which smells amazing. Got a bit obliterated in the rain just recently. And I found this geranium from a cutting in the street, and I love this pale pink colour. So this huge monster grew from a tiny little leaf that two leaves that I plucked from somewhere in the street. This is a hibiscus. You can make tea from the calyx. Different coloured hibiscuses, figs with figs. And this one's just ripening. This is the second harvest of the year. And I've got lots more to have. I can get them before the birds. But these are doing pretty good. Honeysuckle. I mean, I grow a lot of things for the smell. And this is a passion fruit. Look at its amazing flowers. And I get fruit from this. You wouldn't believe it. In Mexico City, you can not just have figs on your balcony, but passion fruit, and they'll ripen sweet and delicious. And I'm going to have a big harvest this year, I think. Here's potatoes, because I love potatoes. And you might think, Mexico, you're going to get potatoes. It's America, but it's South America that has potatoes. And Mexico is very much more of a corn-based country, so there isn't the big selection of potatoes that we get back in Europe. And I love them, so I have to grow my own, even a few. And the view is pretty amazing. You can see the mountains on the horizon all the way around. We're in a bowl up here in Mexico City on the top of a volcano. Water actually boils at a much lower temperature here because we're so high. It's 92 degrees Celsius. It's 8 degrees lower than it would in London. And we're so lucky with this incredible atmosphere, climate. And the terrace goes all the way along. This is a bird of paradise that does flower. And this is a papaya, and I had 2 papaya from it this year. They've been harvested. And the flowers smell amazing. And can you believe it? Papaya. And more geraniums. And these are dahlias. They are also indigenous to Mexico, and I have some inside. I plucked the flowers. Ferns, Pied Susies. And look at the cactus. But look, these guys have had so many babies, are so happy. And this is the guy who has the 1 flower a night. These are the flowers. And he's actually fruiting. This is lemongrass to make tea. More oregano, climbing oregano. We have more cactus, rosemaries. I mean, how lucky am I to have a terrace like this? It's amazing. And I bring all the plants inside too, because I'm not satisfied, haven't got enough. I'm so proud of this guy. This guy grew from like this big. I got him in a tin can, in a beer can on the street. Find it 10 pesos or something. And these guys are pretty impressive too. They're super happy. Look at this furry one. He's actually soft. This is a little bit of a nursery of some new guys growing. This fellow that we use as a doorstop, I inherited from my grandfather, from my great-grandfather, who knows, my great-great. And it's for taking your boots off when you've been riding. You put your one foot on here, and then you put your other foot here so you can pull your boot off without bending down, getting muddy. We've incorporated some beautiful Mexican pieces into our lives. I found these amazing mid-century Mexican pieces that fit very beautifully in this home. And I love the eclecticness of bringing them to, in combining them. Like, this is my mum's desk chair. I lost my parents, and I couldn't bear to get rid of their things, so a lot of the things in this house are treasured pieces that come from my family, that's been handed down from generation to generation, or things we found in antique shops in Denmark, in Copenhagen, where my husband has some bakeries, Hart Bakery. And everything is chosen because we really, really love it. And I think you feel that about things, you know, I feel they have a sense of joy in them when you love them. It might not be to everyone's taste, you know, like tastes are very eclectic, but if someone has put together a home of things that they really love, I think you sense the joy in it. So, I mean, it's a maximalist, eccentric, full of stuff that means something to me. I could tell you the story of every single thing in this house and why I love it, or why my husband loves it. I want everybody to feel welcome when they first come into my home. I don't want you to feel like you're not good enough, or I'm too pompous. I hate pomposity. So the first thing I always do is offer someone a cup of tea, give them something to eat. I think hospitality is incredibly important. And then I let them make themselves at home. We have a lot of people to stay. We're very lucky that we have here 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. It's by far the biggest house I've ever lived in my entire life. Like, you know, London and Copenhagen, your homes are much smaller. But we do that because there are 4 boys, Richard's 4 boys, and want them each to have their own place and their own space in our home. But they're not here all the time, so we get to have guests to come and stay, and I really love that. The one time that, you know, you might feel a bit awkward in my house is if you tried to put my really nice teacups in the dishwasher. Quite an eclectic collection of pictures. I'll put up anything that I like. And this is a lovely friend of ours, Carlos Pellicer, an amazing Mexican painter. And I took these when I was stuck from going out the house very much, when I had chemotherapy a long time ago. And I went to the park for the first time, and I felt like I had been behind bars. And, just some lovely things I picked up along the way. The bathrooms I keep very simple because I don't think you need clutter in the bathrooms. But I do keep some cuttings, some geraniums and things that are growing roots in the nice damp air and the sun of the windowsill. So we have so many rooms. We sleep in a number of bedrooms, but this is one of them. This one has my mum's desk. It's a beautiful old writing desk. And I like to write letters here. Who doesn't love getting a letter? And it sits by some paintings that are important to me. These are by my friend Amy Bay from Portland in Oregon. She did these, and some of them were just things I picked up along the way. This was from my bedroom as a child. This was a wedding present. It's a picture of Walthamstow by my friend Ross. This was my cousin Ridian. This was a thing that my mum got, a picture that my mum got on her birthday in 1955. And these were wedding gifts from Richard's sister. Some beautiful stones, and these are casts of leaves. I mean, they're just precious things. And some rhinos, even a green rhino. And like, you remember I showed you that little mouse? This is his friend that I somehow managed to keep my whole life. He's lost his bit of paper, but he came from New York in the 80s, 90s. 80s maybe. And some worry women, some shells, some hagstones from the beach in south of England. All kinds of little things that we've collected that I don't want too much clutter in the room, but just a few little things. These are some silver shillings. I don't try and have too many things, just a few little things to look at in the bedroom. And this room is more about the view. There's almost nothing in this room apart from some photos, because I like looking out the window when I'm lying in bed. But if it's dark and you've got the curtains closed, I couldn't bear to look at the white wardrobes. It was just too blank. So I painted them. I painted something that I could get lost in. So these, some old family photos. These are my mum, my dad, me and my dad. I must have been about 7. Yeah, I miss them. It's nice to have them around. This was a gentleman's compact wardrobe where you had everything in its place, from your hat to your dress shirts to your pajamas. Obviously, I put in whatever I want to put in, not what you're supposed to. And I did these pictures years and years ago when I lived in Malta. And I found looking at the white wardrobe when the curtains were closed, the blinds were down, was a bit too stark. So I tried to bring those over there and something to get lost in a little bit. I painted that one there. It's not the most professional thing, but in the lovely dark light and sometimes in candlelight, it's just quite relaxing and mesmerizing. But yeah, other than that, I think a lamp and a book is the real, and probably a cable for your phone is all you need in a bedroom. And I'm absolutely obsessed with lovely linens. I love linen sheets. I have, you know, linen everything, and I love having some good quality pillows. I change my pillows quite regularly. I buy new pillows, but getting into a cool linen bed is like one of the most amazing things. My favourite thing about this place could well be the space, the light. We're on the top floor here. This is the penthouse, I guess, and I can see the mountains at night. You can see the lights and the people living in the hills, you know, their homes. I mean, I have a huge horizon of mountains, all the city in front of me. It's the sunset's amazing. When there's a thunderstorm, it's like a movie show. It's extraordinary to have that. The apartment we lived in Copenhagen was on the ground floor, and sometimes the light never came in. And it was, you know, tragic, and I promised myself I would live at the top. Oh, and the birds in the morning, the sound. Wow, it's incredible. And hummingbirds even. Where my husband is, where Richard is. I could be anywhere with him. We've traveled, we've both lived lots of places. He's also a Londoner, but he's lived in California where he was working at Tartine, and he's lived in Copenhagen, and you know, we can make a home anywhere. And in Mexico, we've been made to feel really, really welcome. And it's really easy to, our neighbors are super kind. The people, everyone offers to help. And what can we do to make your life better? Come to our house, come and have a drink, come and eat. So that really helps you feel at home. And this time, having all my things with me, I know that sounds a little materialistic, but I've moved before. I've lived in New York and places, and I just took a few things, feeling quite temporary, transient, free. But now I'm a little older, and I really wanted to make this my home. I needed my things and my treasures. I think having no parents, like they died, and I wanted to have their things around me as well to make me feel the continuity of my past and my history and my family. So you'll see around the place all kinds of traces of peoples from other times. It's been lovely showing you around. I've loved talking about all my little treasures and showing you everything. But I've got to get to the bakery. Green Rhino's opening in 2 days, so I'll see you later. See you in Mexico.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.